Remember, the spiritual journey is not just about what you do. It's also about what you don't do. Each step we take, each choice we make, shapes our spiritual path. As we navigate this journey, it's essential to be mindful of the things that can hinder our progress. Here are some anti-spiritual things you must avoid. Negativity, a pervasive force in modern society, can subtly erode our spiritual well-being. It manifests in our thoughts, words, and actions, clouding our perception and hindering our spiritual growth. When negativity takes hold, it can be challenging to maintain a positive outlook on life. However, by cultivating positivity and optimism, we can counteract its effects. This involves being mindful of our thoughts and consciously choosing to focus on the good in ourselves and others. It also means surrounding ourselves with positive influences and avoiding toxic environments. Moreover, negativity often stems from a place of fear or insecurity. By addressing these underlying issues, we can begin to transform our negative patterns into positive ones. This process requires self-reflection, compassion, and a willingness to change. In essence, overcoming negativity is about more than just thinking positive thoughts. It's about cultivating a deep sense of inner peace and contentment that transcends external circumstances. By doing so, we can create a more positive and fulfilling spiritual life. Materialism, a prevalent ideology in modern society, promotes the pursuit of material wealth and possessions as a source of happiness and fulfillment. However, this external focus often leads to a neglect of our inner selves and spiritual well-being. True spiritual fulfillment comes from within, not from external possessions. While material wealth can provide temporary satisfaction, it is fleeting and does not address the deeper longings of the soul. To avoid the trap of materialism, we must cultivate an attitude of detachment towards material possessions and focus on nurturing our inner selves. This shift in mindset requires a conscious effort to prioritize spiritual values over material gain. It involves recognizing the impermanence of material wealth and seeking instead to cultivate qualities such as compassion, generosity, and gratitude. By embracing a more spiritual mindset, we can free ourselves from the endless pursuit of material possessions and find true fulfillment in the richness of our inner lives. The ego, often considered a barrier to spiritual growth, is the part of our consciousness that defines us as separate individuals. It manifests as the voice in our minds that seeks validation, recognition, and superiority over others. This sense of separateness can lead to feelings of pride, envy, and judgment, hindering our ability to connect with others on a deeper level. To transcend the ego, we must cultivate humility and recognize the interconnectedness of all beings. This involves letting go of the need to constantly assert our individuality and instead embracing our unity with the universe. By doing so, we can dissolve the barriers that the ego creates and open ourselves to a deeper, more meaningful spiritual experience. Judgment, a common human tendency, involves forming opinions or conclusions about others based on our perceptions, beliefs, and biases. While judgment can serve as a practical tool for discernment, it often stems from a place of ego and separation, hindering our spiritual growth. When we judge others, we create barriers that prevent us from truly connecting with them. Instead of seeing others as fellow beings on their own spiritual journeys, we view them through the lens of our own prejudices and preconceptions. This can lead to feelings of superiority, inferiority, or resentment, further reinforcing our sense of separateness. To overcome judgment, we must cultivate empathy and understanding. This involves recognizing that everyone is on their own unique path, facing their own challenges and learning their own lessons. By practicing non-judgment, we can open our hearts to others, fostering deeper connections and enhancing our spiritual growth. Moreover, self-reflection is essential in overcoming judgment. By examining our own biases and prejudices, we can begin to dissolve the barriers that judgment creates and cultivate a more compassionate and inclusive worldview. Attachment, the clinging to people, possessions, or outcomes, is a common source of suffering and a hindrance to spiritual growth. When we become attached, we invest our sense of self-worth and happiness in external factors, which are inherently impermanent. This attachment leads to fear of loss and suffering when things change or do not meet our expectations. To transcend attachment, we must cultivate a sense of detachment and non-attachment. This does not mean avoiding relationships or possessions, but rather holding them lightly and recognizing their impermanence. By letting go of our attachment to specific outcomes, we open ourselves to the flow of life and embrace whatever comes with equanimity. Practicing mindfulness is key to overcoming attachment. By being present in each moment and observing our thoughts and emotions without judgment, we can develop a deeper understanding of the nature of attachment and its effects on our lives. Through this awareness, we can gradually release our grip on attachment and find greater peace and contentment in the present moment. Fear, a powerful and primal emotion, often acts as a barrier to spiritual growth. It can manifest in various forms, such as fear of the unknown, fear of failure, or fear of rejection. These fears can hold us back from fully embracing life's experiences and hinder our ability to connect with others on a deeper level. To overcome fear, we must cultivate courage and faith. This involves facing our fears head-on, acknowledging them, and then choosing to move forward despite them. By confronting our fears, we can begin to dismantle the barriers they create and open ourselves to new possibilities and growth. Moreover, practicing mindfulness can help us observe our fears without being consumed by them. By staying present in the moment and not letting our minds wander into fearful scenarios, we can diminish the power that fear holds over us. Ultimately, overcoming fear is about trusting in ourselves and the universe. It's about recognizing that fear is a natural part of life, but does not have to dictate our actions or limit our potential. By embracing fear with courage and faith, we can transcend its limitations and live more fully and authentically. Lack of self-care, a common phenomenon in today's fast-paced world, can have profound effects on our spiritual well-being. When we neglect our physical, emotional, and mental health, we deprive ourselves of the essential nourishment needed for spiritual growth. Self-care involves nurturing ourselves in all aspects of our being. This includes eating nutritious foods, getting enough rest, engaging in regular exercise, and taking time for activities that bring us joy and relaxation. It also means setting boundaries and saying no to things that drain us physically, emotionally, or spiritually. By prioritizing self-care, we not only improve our overall well-being, but also create a strong foundation for our spiritual practices. When we are physically, emotionally, and mentally balanced, we are better able to connect with our inner selves and the divine. Practicing self-care is an act of self-love and compassion. It is a way of honoring ourselves and acknowledging our worthiness of care and attention. By making self-care a priority in our lives, we can enhance our spiritual journey and experience greater peace, joy, and fulfillment. Dishonesty, the act of deceiving oneself or others, can be a significant obstacle on the spiritual path. When we are dishonest, we create barriers to authentic connection and hinder our ability to grow spiritually. Dishonesty often stems from a fear of facing the truth or a desire to manipulate a situation for personal gain. However, this behavior ultimately leads to a disconnect from our true selves and others. It erodes trust and integrity, which are essential for spiritual development. To overcome dishonesty, we must practice honesty in all aspects of our lives. This involves being truthful with ourselves about our thoughts, feelings, and actions, as well as being honest with others. It also means acknowledging when we have been dishonest and taking steps to rectify the situation. Honesty is a cornerstone of spiritual growth. It requires courage and vulnerability to face the truth, but the rewards are profound. When we are honest, we cultivate a sense of integrity and authenticity that allows us to deepen our connections with others and live in alignment with our true selves. Greed, the insatiable desire for more than what is necessary, is a common obstacle on the spiritual path. It is rooted in a belief that material wealth and possessions will bring happiness and fulfillment. However, this pursuit often leads to a never-ending cycle of wanting more, which can be detrimental to our spiritual well-being. To overcome greed, we must cultivate contentment and gratitude for what we have. This involves recognizing the blessings in our lives and being satisfied with what is, rather than constantly craving more. It also means letting go of the belief that material possessions define our worth or bring lasting happiness. Practicing generosity is another antidote to greed. By giving to others without expecting anything in return, we shift our focus from accumulation to sharing and compassion. This act of giving not only benefits others, but also brings a sense of joy and fulfillment that transcends material wealth. Ultimately, overcoming greed is about finding balance in our lives. It's about recognizing that true abundance comes from within and cannot be found in external possessions. By cultivating contentment, gratitude, and generosity, we can free ourselves from the grip of greed and live more fulfilling, spiritually aligned lives. Lack of forgiveness, the inability or unwillingness to forgive oneself or others, can be a significant barrier to spiritual growth. When we hold on to grudges and resentments, we carry a heavy burden that weighs us down and prevents us from fully embracing life. Forgiveness is a powerful tool for healing and transformation. It involves letting go of the anger, hurt, and resentment that we may hold towards ourselves or others. By forgiving, we free ourselves from the past and open our hearts to love and compassion. To overcome lack of forgiveness, we must practice self-compassion and empathy. This involves recognizing that we are all human and make mistakes, and that holding on to grudges only harms ourselves. It also means being willing to forgive others, even if they have hurt us deeply, as a way of releasing ourselves from the pain and moving forward in peace. Forgiveness is not always easy, and it may require time and effort to fully forgive. However, by embracing forgiveness as a spiritual practice, we can experience profound healing and transformation, allowing us to live more fully and authentically. Lack of mindfulness, the tendency to live life on autopilot without being fully present, can hinder our spiritual growth. When we are not mindful, we miss out on the richness and beauty of the present moment, and we may react impulsively to situations instead of responding with intention and awareness. Mindfulness is the practice of being fully present in each moment, with an open and non-judgmental attitude. It involves paying attention to our thoughts, feelings, and sensations, as well as the world around us, with curiosity and compassion. To overcome lack of mindfulness, we must cultivate a daily mindfulness practice. This can include meditation, yoga, or simply taking moments throughout the day to pause and connect with our breath and body. By incorporating mindfulness into our daily lives, we can begin to break free from the cycle of unconscious living and experience greater peace and clarity. Mindfulness also involves being aware of our thoughts and emotions without being consumed by them. By observing our thoughts and emotions with curiosity and compassion, we can develop a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us, leading to greater spiritual growth and fulfillment. Ignoring intuition, the inner voice that guides us towards what is right and true for us, can hinder our spiritual growth. Intuition is often subtle, arising as a feeling, a hunch, or a knowing that comes from deep within. When we ignore our intuition, we disconnect from our inner wisdom and may make choices that are not aligned with our highest good. To overcome this, we must cultivate a practice of listening to our intuition. This involves quieting the mind, tuning into our inner selves, and trusting the guidance that arises. It also means being willing to act on our intuition, even when it goes against logic or societal norms. Ignoring intuition can lead to feelings of regret or dissatisfaction, as we may find ourselves following paths that are not meant for us. By honoring our intuition, we can align ourselves with our true purpose and experience greater fulfillment and joy in our lives. Practicing mindfulness and meditation can help us strengthen our connection to our intuition. By quieting the mind and opening ourselves to the wisdom within, we can cultivate a deeper sense of trust in ourselves and the universe, leading to a more meaningful and spiritually aligned life. Complacency, the tendency to become satisfied with the status quo and resist change or growth, can hinder our spiritual journey. When we become complacent, we may stop seeking new experiences or challenging ourselves to grow, leading to stagnation and a lack of fulfillment. To overcome complacency, we must cultivate a mindset of continuous learning and growth. This involves being open to new ideas and experiences, even if they push us out of our comfort zone. It also means being willing to challenge our beliefs and assumptions, and to be honest with ourselves about areas where we may need to grow. Practicing gratitude can help us avoid complacency by fostering a sense of appreciation for the blessings in our lives. When we are grateful, we are more likely to see opportunities for growth and change as gifts rather than challenges. Additionally, surrounding ourselves with people who inspire us and support our growth can help us stay motivated and avoid falling into complacency. By staying curious, open-minded, and engaged in our spiritual practice, we can continue to evolve and deepen our connection to the divine.